Hello, Daisy Cakes! This is Daisy Ex Machina, the drag queen detective who investigates all things speculative in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. And if you're wondering why I am dressed up like an Andorian from Star Trek, I'm planning on going with my husband to the Star Trek convention in Las Vegas tomorrow. And I wasn't sure whether or not I was going to go in cosplay Star Trek drag, so I was trying out a look, and I thought, why not do a Star Trek video? And what I wanted to do is a tier maker on the movies and series. So let's get started ranking Star Trek series and movies. Okay, this seems to be the most popular one. It's missing a few series that I haven't really been keeping up with. So getting on with the show, we are starting with Star Trek Deep Space Nine. And I like this one. I like Commander Sisko. I like his relationship with his son. I like most things about it. Is it up there at the top of the list for me? No, but you know what? I'm going to rank it as an A. And next we have Generations. Okay, so this is the first Star Trek movie that got spun off from the Next Generation. And I guess as a bridge, they decided to have Kirk and Picard, sort of passing the baton from one generation to another. And I have to tell you, I think Kirk chews up the scenery whenever he's on screen. If there's ever a question, which is a better captain, Kirk or Picard, I think as sort of an acting presentation, it's Kirk. Kirk is the best captain, hands down, in my opinion. That said, the plot of Generations kind of, the sort of the string thing that he goes back in his memories and whatever. I don't think it did justice to Star Trek, so I'm going to go, just because I like the performances so much, I'm going to give it a B. Okay, next we move on to Voyager, and I have to be honest with you, I wasn't that into Voyager. I was into Deep Space Nine, I was into Next Gen when this was out. I mean, I appreciated when I watched it, you know, the different characters, the doctor, the assistant, all that type of thing. I like Janeway, but I just wasn't into this series. Next we have, I'm not sure what that is. Oh, First Contact. Okay. First Contact is the movie after Generations, and that fired on all cylinders for me. That was with the Borg going back in time to the person who developed the warp drive and the first meeting with Vulcans. It was excellent, excellent movie. First Contact, I'm giving it an A, and I'll even put it over Deep Space Nine for now. Next up is, God, it's hard to read this. Okay, this is Insurrection, the Next Gen movie. Was it after First Contact? Here's the thing. If you're going to do a feature movie, it has to be something special, in my opinion. And this just felt like an episode of Next Gen. So I wasn't very impressed by this. This is the one where I think they're rescuing, Picard is violating the Prime Directive to rescue this population on this planet. Not my favorite. It's pretty darn weak. I'm going to put it as a C. I'm thinking about a D, but I'm going to keep it here for now. Okay, next is Enterprise. This is the Scott Bakula one where they go back in time when the Federation was just getting started. Again, I could not get into this series. I may have been a little bit burnt out on Star Trek back then. I think this was at the time around Babylon 5, which I thought was much better. I may be getting my timelines wrong, but you know what? I'm giving this a D. I liked it less than I liked Voyager, so not my favorite. Next is a movie. Okay, this one I barely remember. Once again, it felt like a next gen movie, Nemesis, that could easily have just been not even a two-parter in the series, just like a normal series episode. I think this is the one where Picard gets cloned. I'm putting this as a D. It deserves to be down there. Okay, next is a J.J. Abrams reboot of Star Trek. I thought it was so good, the one with Chris Pine as Kirk. And I liked how they did that sort of quantum splitting of timelines to explain why the J.J. Abrams Star Trek from here going forward may differ from the canon of the original series. Very impressive. I'm actually going to put it first in A for now. Really like that. And then we're going to jump right into the Darkness, which is the second J.J. Abrams movie with the return of Khan. Like this one, not as much as the first one, but very solid. And yeah, I'll even put it above Generations. Okay, next we go to Star Trek Beyond. And a lot of people really didn't like this movie. I didn't think it was that bad, but again, it felt to me like a television episode, a one-part television episode that wasn't special. And I think this is the first one that J.J. Abrams did not direct that had Chris Pine in it. So, yeah, I was a little disappointed in this one. I'm going to give it a C. It's, average. Yeah, I'll put it behind Insurrection. Okay, next is the original series. I'm not even going to pause here. It's going right up to the top. And I think a lot of people that didn't grow up with Star Trek, the original series, that isn't from my generation, that's maybe under 50 or 40, don't realize how important the original series is. We were starving for any type of science fiction, and Gene Roddenberry gave us a utopia, this Federation that is post-racial, very egalitarian. It was amazing. And as hard as it is to make stories about utopias, they got around that with this utopian society coming in contact with lesser developed civilizations and, the Klingons and whatever. But most of the original Star Trek series was coming to planets where the civilization wasn't quite as evolved as the Federation. It was everything. So it's definitely the iconic original series. Next up is, this is the exact opposite of the original series. This is Star Trek Discovery, and I didn't mind the first season because who doesn't love the mirror universe? And we got, that whole storyline. But after that, when they jump far forward and the Federation falls, it's almost the exact opposite of what I want from Star Trek. So it's going down to the D. Next up is Picard. Now, the first season took me a while to get into, but the second and third season, it just might be nostalgia, but I liked it quite a lot. And I'm going to put it next to... I'm going to put it in the A. I liked it, especially the last season. It gave me all the feels. Next up is the animated series from the 70s. I loved this as a kid and had some good writers. Larry Niven wrote for the Star Trek animated series, and he even put in his Kazin from the known space. Was it the best? I mean, the animation does not hold up, but I think the stories do. I'm going to put it as a B. In fact, I'm going to put it ahead of Generations. Okay, talking about nostalgia, Star Trek the Motion Picture, when this came out, I was so excited. And I think this is the only novelization that was by Gene Roddenberry, although I bet Alan Dean Foster helped him out. I seem to recall reading the book before I saw the movie, but I'm not quite positive about that. But I love the story from the book, and I like the movie. Again, special effects probably don't hold up. And I was looking at this through nostalgic eyes. I was so in love with this movie. I recognize it's probably not the best of the storylines, but I'm going to put it, actually, I'm going to put it in the first spot of B. Again, this is just for me, but it was important to me. Next, The Wrath of Khan, I think is the best of the Star Trek movies. It's going to go right up here behind the original series. We have Carl Maltebon playing Khan perfectly. We have the original crew. Everything fired on all cylinders with this. Love, love, love it. And this is the first part of a trilogy. The next two Star Trek movies are part of that trilogy, and we're going right to Search for Spock, the weakest of the trilogy, but nonetheless, I think pretty decent. I'm going to put it up here. Put it ahead of Picard. And then Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. The other thing about this trilogy is they're almost different genres. Wrath of Khan, where Spock dies, spoiler, is an adventure thriller. And Search for Spock is more sort of a character study, or character focused, getting into Spock and all that. And The Voyage Home is pure comedy. If you're one of those Trouble with Tribbles Star Trek enthusiasts, I know you're going to love The Voyage Home. And in fact, I'm putting it up here, right behind Wrath of Khan. Loved it that much. And then The Next Generation, for me, I was in college at the time, and every one of us was so excited about this. The first season was kind of rough. We didn't really get Wesley Crusher until he got a uniform. Once he got a uniform, he was fine. But sort of kids on the bridge, that type of thing. First season, a little rough, but after that, it just kept improving. I'm putting it up here right behind the original series. Then we have another movie. Okay, this is Final Frontier. This was not great. I think this was William Shatner's only directorial attempt at a Star Trek movie. He was much more action-based than other directors, and not my favorite. I'm putting it down here I'm putting it at a D. This almost killed the Star Trek series. I think it's better. I'll put it at the top of the Ds. And then we get 6, which is again going back to sort of the action adventure type. I believe the director is the same one that did Wrath of Khan. This is Undiscovered Country, about where the Federation and the Klingon Empire finally achieve peace. Really good. I'll put it up as an A. Now the next one, Short Treks, I haven't seen, so I'm not going to rate this one. And we are missing Strange New Worlds, and I liked how it was sort of a throwback to the original. I did not like Kirk being there. I thought that was too much of a retcon. Spock, yes. Kirk and Uhura, what was that about? that kind of annoyed me. And I just saw a couple episodes of the first season and I appreciated what they were doing with it. And then, of course, there's Lower Decks, which is sort of the funny cartoon version, which is fine. It's funny. And I only saw the first season anyway. But looking at this, okay, what are we seeing here? The first top 2 iconic shows, original series, Next Generation. What they have in common? They were under the vision of Gene Roddenberry. Again, showing us that utopia of the Federation, which I think some of these later series may have missed out on. And what I think, at least for the first fandom that I include myself in, that's what really attracted us and made us fall in love with Star Trek. So, what about you? Let me know how you would have ranked some of these, what you disagree with, what you agree with. Let me know down in the comments. And while you're there, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Until we meet again, may all the books and Star Trek shows you watch be blessed.